The movie opens with a woman named Francesca who lives in an Italian city. One night, she suddenly gets a call telling her that her husband has died in a car accident. Shocked and devastated, she immediately calls her husband's lawyer, Cesar, and asks him to come to her house. Before leaving, Francesca puts her daughter to bed so the little girl won't wake up and look for her during the night. When she steps outside, she sees that Cesar has already arrived. Francesca and her friend get into the car and drive off. A little further ahead, Francesca sees her husband's wrecked car. It's completely destroyed from the crash. The police tell her that her husband's body has been sent for an autopsy. Francesca then goes with Cesar to the morgue to identify her husband's body. Inside the morgue, Francesca is heartbroken and terrified. She hesitates to look at her husband's face, but Cesar stays with her until she confirms that it's really him. Her husband is dead. Now she's completely alone, with only her daughter left. The next day, her husband's funeral takes place. All of their friends and acquaintances attend. Francesca looks stunning even in her grief, and an old man keeps watching her from a distance. Everyone seems to sense her loneliness. Some even want to take advantage of it. After the burial, Francesca's father tells her that she should come back to his town with her daughter, but Francesca refuses. She says that all her friends and memories are in this city, and her daughter is deeply attached to this place. She can't just leave. Her father tells her not to worry, because her late husband has left behind a large fortune, enough for her and her daughter's future. Saying this, he leaves and returns to his own town. The next day, Francesca visits Cesar's office and asks how much property her husband actually left behind. Cesar shocks her by revealing that Pacini had accumulated a lot of bank debt before his death. In his final years, he had lost everything and had taken out loans to try to recover financially. Francesca then asks about her husband's life insurance policy, hoping that it could help repay the debts. But Cesar surprises her again. Pacini had canceled his life insurance 4 months before he died because he desperately needed the money. Francesca, now desperate, says that she'll have to sell their yacht and the beachside holiday house to pay off the loans and raise her daughter in the same lifestyle. But Cesar tells her that even if she sells everything, it still won't be enough to cover all the bank debts. He also reveals that the house they're living in wasn't even owned by Pacini. It was rented. Cesar advises her to sell everything, the car, jewelry, anything she owns, and to at least pay part of the debt. Otherwise, the banks will seize everything. Later, we see Francesca sitting sadly in her home, wondering how she'll raise her daughter and pay off the debts. She tells her maid to leave the job since she can't afford to pay her salary anymore, but the maid refuses. She says she'll never leave Francesca alone, even if she doesn't get paid. She even offers to give Francesca her own savings and tells her that she's so beautiful that someday someone will surely marry her and all her troubles will be over. The next day, Francesca goes out looking for a job. She visits her old friend Christina, who is the manager of a large clothing showroom. Christina tells her that she can help her get a job, but only as a sales girl. Francesca agrees, even though she was once one of the store's richest customers. A little later, she meets her new coworkers, who are surprised to see Francesca working alongside them. Soon, some of her old friends come into the store and are shocked to see her selling clothes. Her friend Carla asks how she can tolerate this, when she used to be one of the wealthiest women around. Francesca replies that there's nothing shameful about honest work. She has to provide for her daughter and tells them to accept her new life. A while later, the store manager, who used to know her husband, comes over to talk to her, but suddenly he starts behaving badly and tries to get too close to her. Just then, Christina walks in and begs him to stop. Humiliated and hurt, Francesca decides to quit her job that very day. The next day, she meets Cesar again. She sells him her yacht, but Cesar deceives her. He buys it for only a quarter of its real value, claiming it's old and will require a lot of maintenance. Francesca trusts him and leaves with the check. Cesar feels pleased with himself for having tricked her and gotten the yacht so cheaply. Later, Francesca is seen at home when an antique dealer arrives. She's about to sell all her furniture, from the largest items to the smallest. At that moment, some of her friends arrive and are shocked to see her selling her beautiful and expensive furnishings. She tells them that she plans to hold a big auction at her house to sell all her jewelry and designer clothes. Her friends say they'll help organize the auction and invite everyone in town. The next day, we see Francesca at the auction, selling everything she owns. Francesca has now sold everything she ever had, even her own clothes, just to raise her daughter and pay off all her late husband's debts. Despite losing everything, she tries to smile and stay strong. During the auction, a woman asks her about the black gown she wore at the club's last party, saying she wants to buy it. Francesca smiles and says that she doesn't have that gown anymore. In fact, she's wearing it right now. Then she takes the woman's hand and says that if she likes it, she can have it right away. A little later, that same woman puts on Francesca's black gown in front of everyone, and Francesca says, "It's a gift. I don't want any money for it." Then she puts on her last coat and, feeling sad, goes out for a walk. Days pass. Now we see Francesca riding a bicycle with her daughter because she had to sell her car too. When they return home, her maid tells her that the landlord called. He's asking for the rent, which hasn't been paid for several months. That night, Francesca gets ready because she has to meet an important person. We then see her meeting a man named Andre, a member of parliament who knows her through lawyer Cesar. Andre tells her that ever since he saw her in Cesar's office, he's been willing to do anything for her. Francesca reminds him that he's married and has 3 children, so there can't be any relationship between them, but Andre promises that if she agrees to stay with him, he'll take care of all her and her daughter's expenses, pay the rent, send monthly money, and clear all her bank debts. Hearing this, Francesca becomes very happy. The next day, we see Francesca meeting her landlord. He tells her that he won't evict her because he understands her situation, even though she hasn't paid rent for 3 months. Francesca thanks him and promises to pay soon, but it's also clear that the landlord is letting her stay not out of pity, but because he's attracted to her. Time passes. Now Francesca meets another rich man who's much older than her. She doesn't care about his age anymore, because money is all that matters as to her now. The man gives her an expensive diamond necklace as a gift, and Francesca is delighted when he puts it around her neck himself. But shortly after, he gets an important phone call and leaves Francesca alone in his house. While wandering around, Francesca notices his dentures and feels disgusted. In anger, she takes the diamond necklace off and puts it inside the denture set. The next day, we see Francesca at her friend Carla's house. After a while, Carla's husband comes in and asks her to help him bring some things up from the car. Carla goes to change her clothes and leaves the closet door open. As soon as she leaves with her husband, Francesca peeks inside the closet and sees that Carla has bought a very expensive coat. Just then, another friend, Serena, tells her that the coat actually belongs to Francesca. Carla had stolen it on the day of the auction and slightly altered it so no one would recognize it. Francesca gets furious because that coat was very expensive and she starts thinking about how to get it back. That night, we see Carla's husband at Francesca's house. She had called him there herself. She tells him that she's very lonely and has no one left in her life. Carla's husband realizes that Francesca wants to have an affair with him. Then Francesca tells him to buy her a coat just like the one Carla stole from her. But the man refuses, saying that the coat is too expensive and he can't afford it. Then Francesca threatens him. If he doesn't send the coat by the next day, she'll tell his wife everything and ruin his reputation all over town. The next day, we see Francesca sitting at home with her friend Serena. Just then, the maid comes in and says there's a parcel at the door. Francesca goes to check and realizes that Carla's husband really did send her that expensive coat. Serena is shocked to see the coat and wonders how Francesca managed to buy something so fancy so quickly. But Francesca puts on the coat in front of her and says she has to go out for something important. After that, Francesca goes to a fur luxury coat dealer where the merchant appraises the coat to determine its value. Francesca sells it for a large sum of money. Then she goes to her landlord and pays off her overdue rent, and afterwards she visits her daughter's nursery school to pay the full year's tuition. Finally, with the little money left, she buys herself a car. The next day, Francesca is at home when the maid rushes in and tells her that her friend Carla has come to see her. Carla walks into the room, furious, and says she knows everything about Francesca's affair with her husband. She explains that her husband never had enough money to buy that expensive coat she wanted, so he made a deal with the merchant to take it on credit in installments. By coincidence, that merchant happened to be an acquaintance of Carla's. When he told her about it, she decided to get the coat back and return the money, but Francesca calmly replies that she has already sold the coat and spent the money on her own needs. Hearing this, Carla becomes even angrier and tells her that she's not as clever as she thinks she is. Then she reveals that Francesca's husband had been cheating on her before he died, and that everyone knew about it except Francesca. Francesca is stunned. She learns that on the day her husband died, he was actually with his mistress. Carla mocks her, gives her the mistress's name and address, and leaves. That night, Francesca is deeply troubled. She keeps thinking about her husband, the man who left her in debt and was unfaithful to her. The next day, she drives to meet her husband's lover. The woman's name is Jamila. Jamila tells Francesca that she was in a relationship with Pacini, Francesca's husband, for 3 years. She says Pacini used to visit her almost every day and often talked about Francesca and their daughter, Giulia. Then Jamila tells her that she's truly beautiful. Maybe that's why Pacini could never fully leave her. Francesca, furious, slaps Jamila and storms out. Back home, she smashes all of her husband's photos and throws her wedding ring into the bathroom sink. The next day, Francesca meets with her lawyer, Caesar. She tells him she has a new lottery idea. Caesar looks puzzled and asks what kind of lottery. Francesca explains that she'll use her beauty to start a secret lottery. It will include only 20 participants, all people they know, and each one will pay 1 million euros to join. Only one person will be the winner, and Francesca will collect a total of 20 million euros. She promises Caesar that if he helps gather those 20 participants, he'll get a share too. Caesar asks, "And what does the winner get in return?" Francesca, with a cold expression, replies, "Me." She says that she'll live with the winner for 4 years, fulfill his every desire, and never ask him for anything in return. Caesar warns her that this plan will destroy both her and her daughter's reputation, but Francesca stands firm and says that if he doesn't want to help, she'll work with someone else and give them an even smaller share. The next day, the two of them go to a party in Caesar's car to meet potential participants. There, Francesca meets a man named Andre, who is immediately impressed by her and announces that he'll be the first member to join the lottery. During the party, Francesca notices a woman who keeps staring at her. After the party, Caesar tells her that they've found several people interested in joining the Francesca lottery, including the same woman who had been watching her closely. Sometime later, Caesar meets with a few of the players who are set to participate in the Francesca lottery. They're all worried that Francesca might take the money and back out of her promise, but Caesar reassures them that he'll personally guarantee everything and that Francesca will sign a legal contract binding her for 4 years, so she can't back out. Then we see Francesca sitting in her car, anxious and frightened, as if she's beginning to regret her decision. The next day, she goes to visit her mother-in-law. Her mother-in-law tells her she's heard about the lottery and is worried about her granddaughter's reputation. Francesca gets angry and reminds her that since Pacini's death, she hasn't cared once to ask about her granddaughter, not even when they had to sell all their furniture just to afford food. Furious, Francesca takes her daughter and leaves. The next day, when Francesca returns home, her daughter Giulia shows her a gift she received from a friend at school. It's a painting with the word lottery written on it. Seeing that deeply upsets Francesca. When she asks who gave it to her, she finds out it was sent by her friend Serena. The following day, Francesca takes her daughter to nursery school and runs into Serena there. Serena is angry because she's learned that her husband is participating in Francesca's lottery. Francesca, distressed, swears she didn't know anything about it and says she'll personally go talk to Serena's husband to make him withdraw. But Serena snaps back, "You'll take my husband too, just like you took Carla's." She storms off, leaving Francesca deeply hurt. After that, Francesca goes straight to Serena's husband's office. She tells his secretary that she must see him immediately, and when she does, she pleads with him to withdraw from the lottery, reminding him that he was a close friend of her late husband Pacini, almost like a brother. But Serena's husband refuses and says, "Everyone who joined this lottery was a friend of your husband." Then he walks away, leaving Francesca heartbroken. The next day, Francesca gets ready to attend a party. When she arrives that evening, she is shocked. There is a Jamila, her husband's mistress, present. A little later, Jamila herself approaches her and smiling says, "I joined your lottery. Soon you'll be under me." With that, she laughs and walks away, leaving Francesca stunned in front of everyone. That night, Francesca goes to her lawyer, Caesar's house, and tells him that she wants to cancel the lottery and return everyone's money. She admits that she has made a huge mistake and realizes that this scheme will ruin her life. But Caesar tells her that backing out is now impossible because all the participants are rich and influential people. If she cancels the lottery, they will never let her live in peace. Then Caesar says he has a better idea. He will also participate in the lottery, and when the winner is chosen, it will be him. This way, Francesca won't end up with a stranger, but with someone who won't harm her. Caesar moves closer and tells her that he has wanted her for a long time, that he loves her. Francesca trusts his words and gets close to him, about to kiss him, when suddenly another woman appears in the room. Francesca realizes that Caesar was with someone else, else and that he has deceived her. Angry and humiliated, she walks out. The next day, Francesca is driving out with her daughter when suddenly a man appears in front of her and collides with her car. She panics, stops the car, and gets out to see the man is covered in blood. Frightened, she decides to take him home and treat him. At home, she tends to him, and when he regains consciousness, he introduces himself as Antonio. He is impressed by Francesca's beauty and says he is very tired and can't walk. Francesca tells the maid to take Julia to the nursery while she looks after Antonio. A little later, when the maid returns, the house is empty. Francesca and Antonio talk, and Antonio explains that he used to work as a circus clown and is very poor. Despite this, Francesca is impressed by his simplicity and character. After a while, when she bids him goodbye, Antonio says he has fallen in love with her and cannot leave her, but Francesca says she has a dinner appointment and shouldn't be late. And she leaves. Francesca leaves Antonio and even refuses to give him her number so he can't contact her. We then see her preparing for dinner. Her face shows that she is thinking about Antonio, but she is afraid that if he finds out about the lottery, or Janzib, he will hate her, because he might think Francesca is only selling herself for money. The scene then shifts. Francesca is sitting in a restaurant with her friend Andrea. Andrea tells her that he also wanted to participate in the lottery, but he can't because he is a member of parliament, and if it were discovered, it would harm his reputation and he could be removed from office. He tries to convince Francesca, but at that moment, a stranger at the nearby table starts talking to her. And that stranger is none other than Antonio. Antonio tells Andrea that he knows Francesca very well and that they have loved each other for a long time. Then Antonio comes over and sits at their table. Andrea, surprised, keeps asking Francesca who this man is. Francesca explains that she accidentally hit him with her car that morning, and since then he has been following her, making it impossible to shake him off. But Antonio keeps insisting that he and Francesca love each other. Andrea, furious, stands up, but Francesca, annoyed by his behavior, refuses to leave the restaurant with him in front of everyone. Antonio laughs and says to Andrea, "Francesca doesn't belong to anyone." Enraged, Andrea calls his men and drags Antonio outside to beat him up. Francesca runs after them and sees Antonio badly injured on the ground. She tries to help him up, but Antonio keeps telling her that he loves her and can endure anything for her. Later, Antonio drives Francesca home and, before leaving, again tells her he wants to marry her. Francesca refuses to listen and says she will never see him again. The next day, Francesca is in a car with her lawyer, Caesar. Caesar tells her that the lottery now has 20 participants, and each one has deposited 1 million euros as agreed. He informs her that the draw will take place next Saturday. When she returns home, Francesca feels sad, but when she goes inside, she is surprised to see Antonio at her house, playing with her daughter. Seeing this, Francesca is happy, and they spend one last moment together before the lottery. Then we see Francesca at Antonio's house. Early in the morning, she tries to leave quietly so he doesn't see her, but he suddenly wakes up and asks when he will see her again. Francesca says, "Never again." This is the last time Antonio then says, "We can meet again in 4 years." Francesca is shocked and asks how he knows this. Antonio explains that the lottery is now known throughout the city, but he didn't tell her because he truly loves her and didn't want to hurt her. Francesca says she could leave everything and run away with him, skipping the lottery, but Antonio says that would be foolish. He suggests they secretly meet for 4 years, and after that, they will have 20 million euros and can be together. Francesca realizes that Antonio had known everything from the beginning and had deliberately come in front of her car to trap her and get the money. Angry, she scolds him and leaves. The scene then shifts. Police raid Caesar's office. An inspector explains that someone filed a complaint alleging he was running an illegal lottery and keeping a large sum for himself. Caesar denies everything, but the police find 19 checks in Francesca's name in a bank locker, proving that the lottery was real. Now the police accuse him of prostitution and pimping, saying his office may be shut down. Francesca is also called in for questioning. When asked why there were 19 million euros in checks under her name, she admits everything but says it was a charity lottery, not illegal. She explains that wealthy friends of her deceased husband organized it to support her financially while protecting her dignity. When asked why it was kept secret if it was charity, Francesca replies that it was to protect her and her daughter's honor. The inspector then asks, "What was the prize for the lottery winner?" Francesca answers, Caesar's yacht. Hearing this, the inspector is convinced that the lottery was indeed organized with good intentions. Sometime later, Francesca marries Antonio. All the lottery participants attend her wedding. Caesar explains that Francesca received all the money from the court since all the checks were in her name. She received the full 19 million, and so Francesca manages to save both her honor and her money without ever having to sell herself.